got a picture. Alright, call next. Alright, Riley, we have stream on OBS. It's up.
What?
We have a stream on OBS. It's up. We're figuring out audio, but we have.
Hold up, fielder number 19.
Barley, say something. Barley. No, I can't hear it. Oh, well, I guess he could. Technically, he could commentate through this, but.
I just heard you talking. Sophia.
Test, test. Test, test, test. Maybe someone should put the headphones on so we can actually hear. Test, test, test. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, testing. Testing. Please work. Kelsbreeze. This is not good. Please work. Pretty please, pretty please. Good afternoon and welcome here to Spicer. We're sorry for everything that has gone wrong today. Riley Daniel here with Sebastian Gold. Quick update for you. 7-6 Wesleyan here in the top of the 7th. And, yeah, kind of at a loss for words, both for what happened technically and for this game, which started out with Wesleyan jumping out to a 7-0 lead right away before the Jumbos have responded with 6 unanswered runs in the last 2 half innings, which has brought us to this moment. 7-6 Cardinals here in the 7th as they are clinging on to a 1-run lead. DeCoco still on the mound, and other than that 5-run burst from the Cardinals in the second, really hasn't had a bad inning, Sebastian.
Yeah, she really hasn't. We saw a lot of struggles from her earlier in this game. It was a bit disappointing to see because her last start against Amherst was so positive for her, 7 shutout innings, a return to her 2024 form that we're so familiar with her. But then since that inning, that second inning, 1 run in the third, 1 run in the fourth, it's been pretty smooth sailing for DeCoco. She's really calmed down, and a lot of that momentum on the...
Great play there by Bella Jimenez to grab that one.
For sure, Riley. And a lot of that momentum on the Wesleyan side seemingly flipped over to Tufts. It started with that home run from Heaven Oliva, doing what she does, just barely sneaking one over that 195 sign down the left field line. That was a solo shot in the 5th, and then in the 6th inning, it was just a lot of offense. So a 3-run home run from Lauren Harita, which was great to see. And now it's a close game as DeCoco finishes off the inning with a nice, easy ground out right there.
Yeah, and it is gut check time now for both these teams, but really for the Wesleyan Cardinals, because you come to Spicer Field, a place where it is notoriously hard to get a road win, get out to a 7-0 lead. You really should win the game, but here they are in a situation where they have to get a scoreless 7th if they don't want this one to either go to extras or they lose it outright.
Yeah, absolutely. And, for the Wesleyan team, this has really been a breakout season just as a squad. Last year, they finished not last in the NESCAC, but they were sort of middle of the pack with a below 500 record. Didn't really have a single standout area on the team, but this year they've just been cruising. Abby Orso, who we've seen a lot of today, had been so fantastic both on the pitching side and the hitting side. An absolutely amazing pickup in the transfer market from Colby. Came in today against a Tufts team that had looked good in the SCAC play so far, but got off to a really rocky start in various non-conference tournaments in the South. I think Wesleyan came into this game really thinking they were going to be able to get something out of this, thinking this is their year. They've got a lot of these star players they have are juniors, they're seniors, they're grad students, a little bit older. And it looked like that was exactly what happened. This game was all Wesleyan until we got to about the 5th inning or so. It's flipping over now, Riley. Here we go in the bottom of the 7th. Let's see what Tufts can get going.
Still on the mound is Orso. It'll be Emma Wingate to lead off this inning. And she swings at the first pitch, sends it back out of play. Wingate, one of the fastest jumbos on the team, so if she were to get on, immediately becomes a threat on the base paths. Jumbo's bench being told to stay in the dugout. They're a little too amped.
Yeah, you definitely get after this whole day. It started out rainy, but the sun's coming out. Tufts have seemingly come out in terms of that offense, and there's a lot of energy there, but they're still down a run. They still have to get a rally going in order to make this game count for them.
Wingate with the cut and miss. Down 0-2 now in the count. After her is Lindsay Newman.
interesting to see Orso staying out for the 7th inning after that rocky 6 where she allowed 5 runs. Trying to get that complete start from her. Wesleyan does have a phenomenal pitching staff. By far the lowest team ERA in the NESCAC, below 1, from several different star pitchers. So they definitely had.
Well,
other
it was
options.
below 1 going into today. I
Well,
don't think
yeah,
it is anymore.
that's gonna after that 6th inning for sure. Maybe we'll try to protect some arms for Game 2 of this doubleheader, which we will have for you on JumboCast shortly after the completion of this game.
The 1-2 is upstairs for ball 2.
Yeah, and so kind of seeing with Orso, she looks like she has a little bit more this inning. You saw the quick couple of strikes right there, 2-2 count. Kind of wondering maybe what was talking with the coaches in the dugout sort of after that last inning where it kind of all seemed to fall apart from after it's been such smooth sailing for
That
Orso
one
the whole
flared,
game.
and Orso will do it herself.
And that is such an easy way to get an out right there. Wesleyan team loves that for sure.
And this is the problem the Jumbos have right now, is that it is the bottom of their lineup here in the 7th. 7, 8, and 9. As Lindsey Newman digs in, it would be Kawabe. And if they were able to get a runner on, it would bring up the top of the lineup.
For sure. And I think, Kawabe's a hitter. Her overall stats, as Newman swings through that one, her overall stats maybe don't really stand off the page, but we've seen her come up really clutch, have some great moments, especially last weekend in Game 1 against Bowdoin. If you're watching that on JumboCast, she had a few big hits right there. Definitely a lot of promise as a freshman. So she might be able to get something going. And then you get to the top of the order, as that one's fouled back, with the heavy hitters, Bella Jimenez, Caitlin Perucci, Carrie-Ann Slater, and then Heaven Oliva. So there's one out here. So if just one of these hitters can get on base, that would be a massive boost for Tufts.
Yeah, it is kind of going to be the difference maker in this game as Orso comes set with the 0-2. That one's going to line and down into left field. Splashes in the wet grass. Lindsey Newman's on with 1 out.
That is great to see for Lindsey Newman. Came into the day just hitting 148. That's 4 hits and 27 at-bats on the year and no walk. So she has not necessarily been an on-base threat, but that is such a good clutch piece of hitting. Set the table, get something going. Kawabe coming up now. And I think the key here, Riley, avoid the double play.
That is definitely a key, and it's just crazy to think about. We were an inning ago, Wesleyan was up 7-1.
I know, it's really remarkable, and I think, that's what's great about the sport is really you're never out of it, and they're never giving up. You see, we have this Tufts team has so many heavy hitters, and anyone can really wake up at any point in the game. We saw that with Harita, who last year by far the NESCAC home run queen. She had more home runs than every other team in the NESCAC except 2.
Yeah. Kawabe represents the winning run as that one's going to get down into shallow right center, and 2 on for Jimenez.
These are exactly what the bottom of the order needs to be doing. You don't need to be hitting home runs just yet. Just get on base. Keep the wheels turning. Limit the outs on the board. The front of the order is coming up now. Bella Jimenez, one of Tufts' leading players on the year so far. Think a big moment's coming up right here, Riley?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure, judging from Jen Lane's body language when she went out there, that she might be thinking about a pitching change. And you have to wonder, Orso really getting shelled. Gave up 1 hit through the first 5, has given up 6 in the last inning and a third.
In fact, she was no hitting through 4, and then the Harita home run was what broke it. Sorry, the Oliva home run. So staying out there for now.
That's a choice. We'll see if it works.
Looks like, I can't really see from here, but looks like no activity over in the Wesleyan bullpen.
I saw they were warming someone up an inning ago, so I imagine they're ready, whoever that was.
That would be a fair point.
That one too high to Jimenez, 1-0. A game that once seemed long gone for the Jumbos, who were just trying to avoid getting mercy rules And now they have a chance to win it with a gap shot. That one downstairs. Runners are going. Throw to third is not in time. And it's 2 in scoring position for Jimenez.
Great heads-up base running from the Tufts team right there. That pitch, it didn't get all the way back to the backstop. It didn't necessarily look like a pitch I would send runners to go on if I was a coach there, but I think they saw maybe a little bit of some slow play from Ali Almonte behind the plate there. It just, not necessarily as heads-up as she needed to be in order to get the out there, and the throw over to third would not been in time.
The 2-0 is flared into shallow left field. That is down. Wingate coming to the plate. This game's tied.
Wow.
And diving back in safely is Kawabe at second.
Just incredible right there. A game that looked completely hopeless for Tufts. After 4 innings, 7-0, no hits on the board for Tufts. It's just all come together. Tie game right now. That's 3 straight kind of like little bloop singles into the shallow outfield. Just getting the runs however is necessary. And then we've seen so many different ways of scoring, different types of offense today. Multiple home runs on the board, but that just little kind of small ball right there is what is really going to do it and tie the game as we now see a pitching change.
Yeah, it's going to be Isabella Sakarikata coming in for the Cardinals. Sebastian, what can you tell us about her?
Yeah, so Sakarikata, we've already seen her hitting-wise play this game. She was all NESCAC first team last year for her efforts on both the offensive and pitching sides of the game. Sakarikata on the year, 2.30 ERA, 122 whip. So fantastic numbers right there. She is generally used out of the bullpen to go inside to, Wesleyan's 2 starting pitchers in Abby Orso and Jason Lees. But definitely not an arm to take lightly, Sakarikata. We'll see what she can get done right here, but this is a high-stakes situation. Only 1 out on the board. We have Carrie-Ann Slayton coming up for Tufts.
I think it's going to be Perucci and then Slayton here for the Jumbos.
Yes, I stand corrected right there. And again, still that double play is still a threat. Still runners on first and second, so infield will stay in DP depth.
And you have to wonder on that little flare there from Jimenez, if the infield's not in, trying to cut down the runner at the plate, does the shortstop get to that ball?
It's possible. It looked like off the bat that was just going to be an easy pop-up, for the shortstop to kind of backtrack a little bit into shallow left field there. Left fielder also came in looking for it, but they kind of just let that ball fall in front of them. I think, yeah, different defensive alignment would have definitely warranted a catch right there.
Perucci up to bat with a chance to be the hero. Kawabe on second represents the winning run. 1 out here in the 7th. That one downstairs for ball 1. No. Chopped off her foot. It'll be 1-1. Sun just starting to creep out here in Medford.
I think that's definitely representative of what's going on with Tufts today. Maybe what's going on in the live stream, too.
Well played, Sebastian. Well played. The 1-1 here to Perucci is way outside. Carrie-Ann Slayton had a big hit in that 6th inning as part of that rally, and you don't really want to put her up with the bases loaded if you're the Cardinals. The 2-1 is grounded to short. Could be 2. Instead, she'll turn fire to third, and a really smart play there from Waverly Smart.
What do you think about going to third on that, Riley? I think that she had a chance for a double play there.
I was questioning it in real time, but I think with Perucci's speed, and I think the risk, if you go for 2, right, you're throwing a quick translation throw to first base, and if that throw isn't on the money, the runner from third is scoring. You go to third, even if you don't get it, you don't risk losing the game there.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair point. I think the chances of that throw not being on the money were low enough, and in my opinion, worst case scenario there, you have first and third with 2 outs. and you still had the chance of getting the out at first. But that's not what Wesleyan did as Slayton comes to the plate.
The 1-0 to her is on the inside corner for strike one.
A little bit of an interesting call right there. Looked like that one could have been called a ball.
Didn't really see much dissent from Slayton, who's a catcher. She has got a pretty good eye for the strike zone. The 1-1 is downstairs for ball two. And if Slayton was a scary person you didn't want to come up to bat, imagine what Sakarikata's feeling about the possibility of having to pitch to Heaven Oliva with the game on the line.
Yeah, that would just be possibly worst case scenario for Wesleyan. Again, we already saw Oliva knock one out of the park with 3 runs just a few innings ago, as that one is a strike on the outside corner.
That one Slayton did not agree with.
Yeah, you can see her kind of shaking her head a little bit as she came off that right-hand batter's box.
Has to defend now. The 2-2 is skied. This is going to have to be caught. And it will be. We're going to extras here in Medford. Some bonus softball for you.
Yeah, what a day, Riley. What a day.
And I just wonder, for both these teams, how do you reset? For Wesleyan, you had this game won, and then you were holding on for dear life. And for the Jumbos, it looked like it was there to win it in the 7th, and you just couldn't get that run.
Yeah, it's definitely an unfortunate and some really clutch pitching from Sakarikato on Wesleyan. Got to give props to her for getting out of that very sticky situation right there, because it really looked like Wesleyan did. Not Wesleyan. Tufts really did have all the momentum on that play. It looked like that winning run was inevitable. Didn't happen. Back to Mount Takako, still out there. Inning number 8.
I don't hate the decision, though, because really since that 4th inning, she's been locked in.
It's very true. It's very true. It's just interesting to see this. I mean, more common in softball than in baseball, but it's interesting seeing the starting pitcher still out there in extra innings. But Tufts might not have quite the pitching depth that Wesleyan has. You look at relief options, big name that comes up is Lacey Chillick, who has definitely had her moments for sure, but in a situation like this, maybe you do want Takako out there and not Chillick.
Up to bat here for the Cardinals, Jordan Killian, the sophomore third basewoman from Bedford Hills, New York. Takako just misses the outside corner with that one.
Riley, I'm also thinking about, we still have another game to play today, and we don't know how long this game is going to last here, and just kind of for each of the head coaches here, for Coach Epstein and for Wesleyan's coach, like how do you manage your team going into that game, trying to save players from fatigue, especially in terms of pitching, in terms of starting players. Definitely be interesting to watch.
I think it's a much bigger factor on the Wesleyan side is that one misses downstairs for ball 3, because they've already played this weekend. They played Friday afternoon against Amherst. The Jumbos haven't played this weekend, so they're a bit more fresh than this Cardinals team. The 3-0 right down the middle.
Yeah, that's a fair point you make right there. Interesting quirk is that before today, both teams' last game was actually against Amherst, except Tufts played Amherst a week ago, or more than a week ago. It was last Friday. And Wesleyan played Amherst yesterday, or 2 days ago.
That one hammered down the left field line, and it gets past Harita. Killian racing around the bases and is going to get held up at second.
Great start to this inning for Wesleyan. Off to Kako, who, again, I know we talked this out, but I'm not convinced of keeping her on the mound out there at this point in the game. We'll see what Wesleyan can do right now with Sully coming up to the plate here. But now you got to run in scoring position. We have a pinch runner coming out.
Yeah, it's going to be Bella Tassoni. Been really good as a pinch runner. Perfect in stolen base attempts on the air.
Your attention, please. Pinch running at second base for Wesleyan, number 5, Bella Tassone.
Yeah, Tassone is 4 for 4 on stolen bases, so definitely a threat on the base paths, and this is really her role. She's not much of a hitter, but super speedy, super smart, high IQ base runner.
That one downstairs for ball one. Selly choking up on the bat. She seemingly just wants to put this ball in play and have faith in her teammate on the bases. 1-0, missed somewhere. Jumbo crowd did not like it.
Feels like a new drop of rain might be falling right here.
A little bit, I think.
Maybe not a great sign for either of these teams.
The 2-0 catches the outside corner for strike one. Bunt shown, and it's going to be foul. Jumbos say that it hit her foot, but I think she was in the batter's box when it did. So it'll be a foul ball.
Yeah, it looked like she was right-handed hitter kind of coming across. Looked like, left-handed hitter, but she was bunting. She was still in that box, sort of heading towards first base. And it looked like, yeah, it did hit off her shin.
The 2-2. Chopped back to DeCoco, looks the runner, but not going to throw. Runner moves up 60 feet, but one down here in the eighth.
Yeah, and that's a very dangerous position to have to zone on third base with no other runners on base. The only way that Tufts is going to be able to prevent her from scoring is just, keeping the ball in the infield, but really preferably at something like a pop-up or a strikeout. Infield is coming in for a ground-up, but you still might not be able to get her with her speed.
Marino doesn't pay any chances to that and lines it into right field to give the Cardinals the lead once again.
Yeah, that's a great piece of one-out hitting right there. Doing exactly what you need to do. Bringing that run in, super easy, no doubt about it.
So bring out Molly Lennon, the junior. Hitting .383 on the air. 15 RBIs coming into the day and a .583 slugging percentage. So someone who the Cardinals love to see in this situation. And she hammers it to center field. Wingate tracking back, but it's over her head. Runner did not get a great jump. It's going to be a double, but they will hold the runner at third.
Yes, still keeping runners in favorable positions for Wesleyan right there. Now second, third, no runner on first. Again, Tufts does not have that double play available, does not have that force play available. And right now a single to the outfield could very easily knock in a pair and give Wesleyan a very comfortable cushion. Though, as we've seen today, doesn't look like any cushion is too comfortable for them.
Castle Siskin will step in here, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Jumbos think about throwing 4 balls on the outside of the plate, either daring her to swing at them or giving the intentional walk to set up a force play. Instead, DeCoco goes right at her, line back, looks the runner back, fires to first, runner coming home, and they're going to get the double play. How about that from the Jumbos?
That was some bold base running from Wesleyan right there, sending the runner on that play, and she was ready to go from the get-go. That looked like that was the plan all along. That wasn't like a last-minute decision or anything. But on that ball that came over to first base, it's a pretty fast chopper over there at the throw. It didn't really look like she had any chance of being safe at home, but she still went, and unfortunately for Wesleyan, they had to pay the price right there.
They did, and you just wonder the way this Jumbos team has been hitting the last couple innings and the fact that it is 4, 5, and 6 in the Jumbo lineup, if the fact that Wesleyan was able to get one but not any more might come back to haunt them in this game.
Yeah, as you mentioned, big boppers coming up right now. Heaven Oliva, Lauren Harita, and Haley Lineback all due up. It looked like Wesleyan really could have made more runs out of that situation. Second and third and 1 out is not something that you should just, a ground out should finish off. That's exactly what happened right there. And now another golden opportunity is opening up for Tufts. They will need a run to tie it, and then, of course, another run to win it. But that's definitely a possibility with the type of hitters coming up to the plate that they have.
Oliva's already gone yard once today for her 8th homer of the year.
Yeah, and the impact Oliva has had on this team all year, but especially recently, really cannot be understated. She's just established herself as that offensive threat that Tufts needed after graduations of players like Josie Steinberg last season.
Takes that one on the inside, 4-1. Jumbo crowd urging her to do it again. The 0-1 misses inside.
And coming into today, Oliva was working with a 6-game hitting streak and a 3-game multi-hit streak.
Well, she checked the first one off, did not get the second.
And of course, nobody is going to be more excited about watching Oliva play than her grandfather, Leonard. If you're watching this, a shout out to you. Oliva is very thankful for you and is so happy to have you on the broadcast. And we're so happy you were able to watch her go yard earlier today.
Always great when family members can see players step up in big moments. And guess what? Heaven Oliva's not done just yet. She's turning, heading for second. Going to be a close play, but she's in with a double.
There goes that multi-hit streak to 4 games now. Oliva just cannot be stopped. That's multiple extra base hits on the day for her. And now tying run in scoring position for Lauren Harita. Again, Harita has already gone yard today. Doing that again right now would win the game, as the pinch runner Emma Tonys will come in to replace Oliva with a little bit more foot speed on second base.
Harita the winning run. Tonys out on second base is the tying run. Can she do it again? Chops that one into the Wesleyan dugout, 4-1. Wesleyan crowd now starting to make some noise behind their pitcher. The 0-1. Misses inside.
All right, let me ask you, do you pitch around Harita here and let her on base?
No, because Haley Lembeck's too good at getting on base, and at that point, you're playing for a miracle. The 1-1 is hit well to center. That is going back towards the wall. Walk it off, Lauren Harita!
What a finish at Spicer Field. A 2-run walk-off home run from Lauren Harita. Her second home run of the game, 5 RBIs. They're mobbing her at home plate. An incredible way to end an incredible game.
What a comeback.
That is just an amazing thing to see for Tufts today.
Down 7-0 in the 5th. The Jumbos come back and walk it off in extras here at Spicer. What a performance in that one. Sebastian, I mean, what can you say?
I'm at a loss for words, Riley. I mean, again, Tufts was getting no hit through 4 innings today. It was 7-0. They looked completely hopeless at the plate. It looked like they were just trying to get this game over so they could start focusing on game 2 and move on. But instead, you know, we saw that home run from Heaven Oliva that just barely snuck over the fence in the 5th inning, and then that rocket ship of a 6th inning that got Tufts right back in. Walk-off home run. What a day at Spicer.
What a day indeed, and this day is not done yet. We're going to step aside for the 20 or so minutes between these two games. In 20 minutes or so, it'll be me and Sebastian right back here for game 2, so don't go anywhere, or if you have a little free time, switch over to our other channel, see what's going on. It's all good. I couldn't tell you, but I bet it's interesting. Until then, stay home safely.